I think we're ready to start. So welcome to this webinar about this new service pack release, Aligned Elements version 2.5, service pack 5. And I'm going to start at talking a little bit about the context in which this service pack was made. I'm going to show you some features. Anders is also going to show you a couple of features, and then we're going to wrap it up. So this service pack is considerably smaller than the last one we did and smaller than they usually are. And the reason for that is that we ran into an urgent situation where it turned out that with a few Windows updates, or more recent Windows update, the Aligned Elements Windows application did not behave or scale very well on high DPI screens. So that's the primary reason for this service pack. We have fixed the problem with Aligned Elements on high DPI screens. And that also meant that we had to cut our service pack release schedule a little bit short. And we had to release rapidly, or that was our intention at least. And therefore, it's not as feature packed as it usually is. So I'm going to quickly go over a couple of new features in the web client UI, and then I'm going to pass on to Anders. So many of the features that you see here today is based on, as always, feedback from our customers, from you guys. And I am very grateful for this. So please, if you have ideas, let us know. If there are issues that you think we should address, then please let us know, and we'll be happy to implement them just like we have done in this service pack. So first of all, I want to show you something about reviews. If you watched our last webinar on our last service pack, we told you about the new feedback options for reviews. And in this release, we have added a feedback overview, which means that you now have the possibility to see the collected feedback from all the users, including their comments and also issues if they exist. So this is a new view. You can reach it from the review form in the Actions drop-down menu. And what you see here is then on the left side, as usual, the objects under review. And on the right side, you can now see how many people have accepted, rejected a particular item. You can hover with your mouse on an item and you can see who actually accepted, or in this case, then rejected an item. And this will give you a good overview of the current feedback state, and you can address those particular issues where there seems to be disagreement and work with that more rapidly. So that's available in the web client, not available in the Windows client, but I hope you find it useful. And if you have any feedback on this, I'll be happy to hear your points of view. Another feedback that we got was that when we work in the, we can go here, for example. We take a look here in the chapter view. So we have, here I am in design input requirement list. And here you might have a lot of items. And on this right section, you can then open individual items in tabs. And we got to report that if this list here on the left side is very long, it's very tedious to scroll down, select something, then scroll up again to see this view. So now we've introduced scrolling in this section, so you can scroll independently here compared to this tab page here, and that should make the usability a little bit easier. Also, on popular request, we have reversed the order of the revision list, meaning that you see the most recent revision on top, which is, of course, very handy if there is a lot of revisions involved, for example, in file objects. They tend to have a lot of revisions. Anders, do you want to continue with some new maintenance features?
Yes, I'd love to. I'm just going to share my screen here. I can share my PowerPoint. I only have a little PowerPoint going, but that should be enough, I hope. So Hi everyone, this is Anders here, and I'm gonna show a bit what we've done on the maintenance side for the web, particularly. And now, if you log on to the web project and you happen to have the web admin role, you will see a couple of new entries there. But also, if you're a non-web admin, you will see some additional entries as well. Now, the biggest thing that we've been doing is to be able to allow you to rename, copy, remove projects. These are database actions that actually just automate what we wrote for manual execution in the user manual priorly. And now it's a bit less error prone and easier to maintain, of course. I'm going to go into detail with those in a short bit. We also have the possibility of managing template directly from the web interface, and you don't have to go and copy things on the server or template directory and things like that. So you can just upload or download templates from the web interface itself. And we've also added a little function to allow a user to download log files. I'm going to go into detail with those right now. So, renaming, copying, and removing projects. These are actually operating directly on your project databases. And if we look at the rename project, it will rename an existing project on the server. It also renames any content referring to that project, also within Word documents. If you work with linked projects, you have to do them one by one. So there's no automatic functions of checking that this particular project actually has dependencies on linked projects, and we will rename them as well. That's not possible at the moment. So that could mean that for linked projects, you may have to rebuild document content to actually have links to the right project name in there. An important thing is when you do a rename of a project, we take an existing project database, we keep the original, but it will not be like attached to the database, but the physical files will still remain. And we work on a copy of those files only and create the rename project, which we also update content within. It's pretty much like the second feature here, copy projects, where we keep the original and make a copy and give the copy a new name. The only difference between rename and copy projects is that for copy projects, we also reattach the original project again, so that it's still operatable and reachable through the application. But in both cases, we do not touch the original database file as such, and the physical files will always remain on the server. So if something goes wrong during these operations for, I don't know, whatever reasons, the physical files should be able to be recovered without anything weird going on. Now, the last one is remove project, and remove project is a bit less scary than what it sounds like. All that we do is that we kind of make sure that the current project is not reachable through the web application. So we're just detaching the project from the server. But once again, physical files still remain in their original location. I think that's important to understand. Maintenance features number 2, and that's regarding templates. So we thought that for support reasons, it would be helpful if all users have the possibility of downloading templates. So if you have set up a template mapping on your web server, you can select what templates you are interested in, and you can download those to your local machine. And that can happen like if we, for support reasons, are asking a customer, can I maybe have the most recent templates to go with that project, so that we can maybe help you out, reproduce or extend something with your template sets. Now, we can also imagine that some companies do not want this to be reachable by every user, and therefore there is a little setting in the web config that you can do. Sorry. and that is show manage template. And if it's true, we show this entry, and if it's false, we hide this entry. So it's possible for an end customer to actually decide if this option should be available for the user or not. Now, if it's available and you happen to be web admin, then you can also upload templates directly to the server. You don't have to manually go and copy them to any template directory. And we have two different approaches for doing that. Either we upload a complete template set, then you have to make sure that everything you upload is the complete set as such, and you upload the complete template folder. This will mean that any existing templates on the server will be overwritten. If we have a file in the uploaded set that does not exist in the existing set, then it will be added. If we have a file missing in the uploading set that already existed before, it will be deleted, meaning that if you're, for example, renaming a type or something like that, so it was called requirements before, and now we're going to call it super requirements, then the requirements file will be deleted, and we will upload the super requirements instead. So that's for working with complete template set. But the other approach is to just replace a single template file. Then you just choose one file, and that file will be uploaded to the server. Then we, at the most, overwrite an existing file. We do not delete anything. So if we would take the same example of saying we want to upload super requirements, that would not result in deleting the existing file requirements. It would just possibly overwrite an existing file super requirements. And now here, there's no real way of saying where you want to upload it to. So we have a strategy for that, depending on the file type. If it's a standard RVT file, then it goes where the RVT file is. If it's a docx file, then it goes to an RTF templates section. So it's not possible to upload every single file singularly, not every file type as such. So you could not replace a trace table, for example, or things like that. Then you wouldn't have to use the template set feature instead and upload a whole bunch of files. But we think it's kind of handy to just be able to maintain templates without having to log on to a server or ask a server admin to actually give you access. So the third one is a secure way to download log files. Previously, we had to open the unauthorized way of just downloading a file from the web server. You did not have to log in to do that. We saw this as a potential security issue. It was, of course, also possible to turn off this feature by saying that you're not allowed to download any log files. But we still thought it would be convenient to be able to have that possibility. So now you have to authenticate, and you can actually download existing log files from the server. This is also something that's configurable in the web config. If you don't want your users to have this possibility, then there's a little key saying show download log files, and you set the value to false instead. Pretty straightforward. Now, for user management, there's also two small changes that came with the Service Pack 5. One is that to be able to assign someone to the role of web admin, before we had to have this super duper server admin account to do that. Now it's possible to assign other web admins if yourself is a web admin. So that makes it a bit easier. Assign or unassign, up to you. And that I think it's a lot easier now to actually maintain the roles of web admins within a company organization. A new thing we also have in this service pack is that we can now maintain multiple license files in the web server. Prior to this release, there was only one standard floating license file that could exist in the web root, and that was the one that was used for every user. Now it's possible to actually upload any number of license files. And to go with that, we also introduced a new license role called reviewer. And a reviewer is someone who can review and sign objects, but not modify anything else. And there's also an entry for this in our little price list on the web. And we allow them for web users in packages of 5 because they're cheap and handy. But if you have like an extended crowd of reviewers and signers within your company, this could be a good way of actually serving them. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say about changes. Once again, if you need any assistance in upgrading or installing, just let us know. We'll do our best to support you. Are there any questions maybe? Or should I just hand it back to you, Carl? No questions? Then I will just hand it back to you, Carl, and you take over.
There are a few smaller features that we've added as well on requests from our customers, like the possibility of adding tags in the web form for your document objects, adding test cases to test runs, not from the test run, but from the test itself, for example. We've added text coloring capabilities in the rich text and table attribute. And I also want to show you the display as list feature. This is an old feature, but we've made it a little bit more prominent. And if you don't know it, I think you should take a look at it. It's called display as list. So you can display a number of design control items in a list. And you can select the number of columns you want to display, so you can get all your attributes here in separate columns. And the coolest thing of all is that you can actually edit multiple items at the same time. So we can perform inline editing on several items at once by opening them in this display as list, clicking edit, then start editing. And when you're done, you click save and you enter one change comment for all those changes. So the only thing that changed there is that we have placed this menu item a bit higher in this list to make it a bit more prominent. I think it's really useful. You should check it out. We've also added a number of performance enhancements and security enhancements as well. But as you realize, the feature scope here is smaller than usual. Still, a lot of bugs have been fixed. And this is an update that we recommend. As Andrew said, if you need help updating or upgrading your servers, we are at your disposal. Are there any other questions at this point? All right, in that case, I want to thank you for participating in this webinar. As always, if you have any suggestions about improvements in Aligned Elements, please let us know. We'll be happy to address them. You're probably not the only one with a suggestion, and the whole community would benefit from your feedback. So any feature changes or observations that you've made, please let us know, and we'll be happy to check them out. That's all for us. Have a great day.